He might not have been the first one, it was one clear back in the back there. Maybe, I think he may have been the first one built out in there.
He wouldn't have been in that one.
You're on. We will officially call this meeting of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to order for Tuesday, October 21st. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner Wagner, would you please?
Lord, we thank you for this day that you've given us. We're grateful. We're thankful for the help to be here today, for the daily provision that you give to us. We ask for your wisdom and guidance as we discuss the issues of the day. In your name we pray.
Roll call, please. Here.
Here. Here.
Signing of the journal, and I'd like to accept a motion to approve the DVD recording of the previous work session from Tuesday, October 14th, and the index of that meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
And a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any adjustments to the agenda? I have one, I'd like just, the old business there was just an update where we're at with the space agreement. And I have to have it on. We have enough final draft on it, for the use of the court.
We've got, hopefully we'll have our final meeting today at 11:30. We just don't, we haven't done this, you will miss it last week. Of course, they had some minor adjustments to it, and Derek, our prosecutor, just minor issues that they had, so we hope to wrap all that up today. We're going to get the committee back together so that everybody can get a hearing this going on. That's, I see no reason why they can't be resolved today. Come back to this board next week. The procedure is, it comes from the committee to this board is going to approve it, give it to the administrator, and then as applications come in, that's the new guidelines that they will follow. No.
Which was just my question of where that was at. I knew we're waiting on a final back before we can start giving those out for submission for whatever use anybody wants to do with.
We basically had it 3 weeks ago, but just minor issues.
I knew the final had to come back, so curious. All right, yes, the museum, we'd kind of asked to see, we know that the changes we made with energy, the system and how that operates was a bad impact on them in terms of because it requests you not to shut it down maybe as low as they did in the way it operates, and of course the winter on top of that we had. And they might need some assistance to get through the year, but I just asked if we could kind of see what all the types of expenses they've had and so forth, and they've agreed to come to our quarterly night meeting October 28th, and we're in Bloomville, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Okay, for that, okay, great. Let's begin with new business, and before we forget it, let's go ahead and do that ice inspection update, because that was all good news from what I read in the email from the sheriff.
Yes, Friday he had the closeout of the inspection. They were here, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and there was only 2 minor adjustments. There was 4 different inspectors for different areas of the jail, and only one found a couple minor changes. Otherwise, it was a clean bill of health, and it was an excellent inspection, and they said that the sheriff was doing an excellent job, and he, thanked his employees and staff for doing such a wonderful job. So.
I think some of the things I talked with Sheriff Huckleberry yesterday that really, of course, they were going through this inspection, took some time, but the wrap-up said it took less than 6 minutes.
Yep.
Typically, he said a wrap-up maybe, 3-4 hours or something like that. He said 6 minutes in. And they made the statement that so many places that they go and they do the inspection. It seems like the day before they got there, the sheriff of whatever county it is would make all these changes so that they're compliant. And they made the statement that it looked like Seneca County Sheriff, that the procedures were just actual standard operating procedures of what we were doing. So he got very, very high regards to it. And as I mentioned to Sheriff Arkelberry, I said the ability to him to bring in ICE of roughly $1.6 million a year is a major benefit to the citizens of Seneca County, because it's less money that we have to give them from the general fund, and gives us that 1.6 that we can spend elsewhere. So I certainly, the hats off to Sheriff Arkelberry for his efforts there.
All right, well, let's begin. We got a little bit of time before our scheduled presentation. Let's begin with the vouchers. What do we got listed for new business?
I have bill vouchers 103 through 106. I have an appropriation adjustment within the M&R Fund 020, moving 10,000 from contract services to diesel line, 5,000 from pipeline to diesel, and 20,000 from contract projects to diesel for a total move 35,000. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Delinquent Care and Custody Grant Fund 159, moving out of their 162 fund $78,410.66. Again, that's to their 159 account. I have a supplement to the permit appropriation for the Delinquent Care and Custody Grant Fund 162, putting the money in their transfers outlined, $56,104.96. I have an appropriation adjustment for the Delinquent Care and Custody Fund 162, excuse me, moving $4,020.55 from salaries to transfers out, $2,147.26 from supplies to transfers out, $3,400 from equipment to transfers out, $1,695.94 from contract repairs to transfers out, $6,748.74 from contract services to the transfers out, $877.30 from travel to transfers out, $3,283.03 from other expense to transfers out, and $133.08 from Medicare to transfers out, for a total of $22,305.90. And this again is to follow up for the transferring the 162 to their other account. I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, taking $61.61 from insurance premiums to contract services, and $638.39 from workers' comp to contract services, total $700. And this is the mailroom software update and parts and labor, closing out some accounts we've already paid the amounts for. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the general fund, putting $6,000 into contract services. This is for 0500, that is for the airport. And with the additional appraisal fees. That project, we had to stop and have a reappraisal done on the house.
$6,000?
Yeah, that's the verification to the previous appraisal and the new appraisal to make sure that they're compliant. Yeah.
And they'll pay 90% of that when it's all said and done? is that-
Yes. Yep. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $16,000 from contract services to supplies. I have a resolution appointing Mike DeWine, Ohio Attorney General Special Prosecutor, regarding a criminal prosecution and/or criminal representation, matters of law, and any of his assistants, attorney generals, as he shall determine. Just says that there is a conflict of interest for the appearance of such conflict in any of the assistant attorney generals as determined. I don't see a cost on this, so they're just
He's doing it to with no cost.
no cost. Yep. And I think that's all the resolutions on the notes.
I move we approve.
Seconded.
A motion and a second to approve resolutions as stated. Any comments or questions? Okay, call the roll call, please.
Commissioner Ryder?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes, all approved, thanks. All right, then we have the two additional things on the note renewals that we have on our agenda as well.
Somebody's got to explain to me with this resolution providing for the insurance and sale of 910,000 in
That's
notes.
for those notes that she was just talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, she's gonna go into that now.
Okay.
That's the rollover of the notes we have to do every year. The 910,000 is for the energy improvements that we did last year. We just, every year we have to roll over. We've paid the principal amount we were gonna pay and we're rolling it over. We have to do a new note every year. The 160,000, we've agreed to get that portion of it paid off this year, so that one will be paid off, so. And that was for building improvements, and I think that was for the 98, some improvements done back in Job and Family Services quite a while ago. We had the EMS portion of it paid off last year, and we're getting this portion of it paid off this year, so we'll only have the 910 for the energy improvements.
How many years is that?
We're hoping to have that paid off in 4 years. I think he said 4 years.
And we're paying, theoretically, we're paying that off from the proceeds that we're saving on our energy use. That's why
Yep.
Tanya is kind of monitoring that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a loosey-goosey thing there because electric rates go up and different, it's colder winter than, but try to follow the kilowatt hours used and see if we can see that over a period of time. It's tough just to track the actual cost of the bill because electric rates go up and so forth, but we can kind of hopefully see a trend that will help us justify the investment that we're making there.
And the commissioners can up or down that note payment a little bit each year, you know, if we got a little extra money, we could put a little more toward it next year, or a little less, where the bond payment, you're stuck at a certain number.
Yep.
I don't understand, if it's 910,000, how are we gonna pay it off in 4 years, paying 160,000 a year? It doesn't make sense.
Didn't they said we'd get the savings of like 130 a year? Isn't that what they told us?
Yeah, it was like 30% of what our energy cost is,
Yeah.
we should get in savings a year, is
Yep.
what I recall.
And we were gonna put that towards the payment. And
The
we could say-
160 is a separate note. He said
Yes.
160, that's not the payment,
Oh,
that's a
no.
separate note.
Yeah.
Oh, that's separate now.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
separate note, sorry.
That's the old one.
Yep, that was the old one. And we put the extra in, that's what Tanya came in and asked for a couple weeks ago,
Right.
that if we could go ahead and just get that one paid off. That way we're not doing two every year, just paying a portion on one and portion in the other, so.
Yeah.
I can read those. I have, he's always got a long title on these things. I'll just read it up here. I have a resolution providing for the issuance and sale of the 910,000 notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to provide funds to pay costs of installing energy conservation measures in and otherwise renovating, remodeling, and improving county buildings and facilities. And then I have the other one, resolution providing for the issuance and sale of the 160,000 note in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of renovating, remodeling, refurnishing, equipping, and otherwise improving buildings and facilities, and improving and or equipping their sites to house various county offices and functions and other related offices serving county residents.
Do I have a motion to go ahead and do these two note renewals? as
Make a
stated?
motion that we proceed as outlined there.
I'll second.
A motion and a second for both the note renewals as read. Any questions or concerns?
The only ones you guys have to sign on there are the tabs that are marked with a C, because there's a lot of tabs.
Oh, in those books,
It's
okay.
just the ones marked with C.
All right. All right, no comments, questions, roll call please.
Commissioner Ledger,
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller,
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy.
Yes, all approved. All right, on schedule for Mr. Grinder and Company to speak with us from Northwestern Water and Sewer District. Good morning.
Hey, morning. Morning. Thanks for a few minutes. About every 2 or 3 years, we try to get out to the adjoining counties. Obviously, we're from Wood County. Back in 1994, our county commissioners converted our sanitary engineer's office, which operates under a couple of versions of the revised code, 6113 and 6117, converted us to something called a 6119, a different type of water and sewer organization that stands on its own 2 feet. It's not reported to the county commissioners, but to a generally elected or generally appointed board. Lyle Schulte, one of our board members, has been with us a number of years from up the eastern side of the county, and Tom Stalter is our engineer. Through that time, we've done a number of water and sewer projects around our county, and I like to get out at least once in a while, and that's why I guess I'm back after a couple of years to tell you we have no real projects in our southern end of the county, nothing adjoining here to Seneca by any means, but just to tell you that we are a water and sewer organization. I was here back this past summer, tried to help a little bit, maybe sort out the new legal issues for you. Hopefully that was some help, but at least to stop in, offer our input for that. And as projects come up, your side or our side, if you have some reasons to be involved or 1 hour involvement, obviously a phone call, anytime you want to reach out to us, it's perfect. We did a nice project down to Rising Sun several years ago that was ordered by EPA to bring sewers into the little village of Rising Sun. We came down State Route 23, and we were able to serve both sides of 23, came over into Scott Township for Sandusky County, and those residents, the septic systems didn't know which side of the road they were on. They were failing on both sides. But we were able to put together a nice package of grant money with block grant money. We had USDA funding that worked out, I think, well for both sides of the road and for the area that hopefully got cleaned up a little bit for some environmental issues. So things like that that come about. I guess we'd like to make sure you know we're nearby if you need us. As always, Tom's been in the private consulting business with Pokemar Design Group, so it's great for us to have him. We have 65 employees. I forget our numbers. Several 175 million now in assets with water and sewer lines. So we've had good growth, good number of things we can do for any number of entities. With North Baltimore earlier this week, we're going to do some GIS work. They've never spent much time in trying to locate their utilities. Our county auditor has good land-based data, it's free. It's just a matter of putting in place some inexpensive software. So we do that from time to time with our GIS department. Our operators do contract work. We operate about 10 other either communities or mobile home parks, water or sewer plants. We do work for villages, for pump stations, and any number of things. And engineering obviously speaks for itself, the number of things they find themselves involved with. So any part of that, if you ever give help to you, we're glad to be here and appreciate a few minutes.
Well, thank you, appreciate you coming in. Do you do 100% of the Wood County's sewer stuff that they
Yeah,
have?
not all of it. Wood County's diverse, maybe like yours. We have 19 townships, 20 villages, and, 19 townships, 20 villages and 5 cities. We're in all the townships in one manner or another, maybe not necessarily with existing lines, but they're to do work maybe in their contract areas. We're in 12 of the 20 villages. We do contract work in 5 more of those other group, and then of the 5 cities, we're in and out of 2 of them, Rossford and Northwood. So that means the Bowling Greens, the Perrysburgs, the North Baltimores, Wayne, Bradner, Pembervilles. I call them the haves, and generally the have-nots, where the villages exist. They don't have the staff, or they don't have the revenue. They don't always have the administrative staff to do billing and work. So that's generally where we find ourselves, trying to patch in, trying to piece in where we can help provide utilities and do it in a fairly inexpensive manner. So most places, but not all.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming in, and we did appreciate your help this summer when you were sat in on meetings with us with our engineer regarding the issues we're addressing with New Riggle, so.
Yeah, it's a tough situation.
Yeah.
EPA comes in hard, and with this economy in the last 10 years, it's been hard to sort out a good project from, and find some good projects.
Yeah.
And please tell your engineer to call me anytime if there's something we can do to help. We've
Okay.
done it for a long time, might be able to get a little different look at it if
Sure.
I can help.
And it's free. I mean, that's the difference, I guess, when we look at ourselves from the consulting companies that come and go. They're usually here looking for work and trying to bill someone. We're simply out here to help with a number of entities. We meet with about 7 surrounding county sanitary engineers. We met with them yesterday. I meet with a number of 6119s that exist in Northwest Ohio. So we have a pretty good network of people that we work with, and obviously with the EPA and health departments and prosecutors' offices and all the other
All the fun
places
stuff that comes with
we
it.
seem to find ourselves.
Great.
Not always so much fun.
All right, well, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes what's written on our agenda. We'll be open for citizens' comments at this time, and I don't know if David Zach from SIDAC, you've got some information you'd like to
Yes,
go over with us. I think we've heard a lot of this great news.
Yeah, so I'll stand over here because I don't want to, so you can't, everybody sees it. Oh,
There's
I'm
Steve
so
up
sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
So yeah, we've had, first of all, I like to stop in once in a while and make sure I'm accessible. I think what's exciting about, the last week is we had $130 million over $10 million in new investment announced and over 130 new jobs. And one of the things that we do in our office at the Seneca Industrial and Economic Development Corporation is we analyze the tax impact to the various entities, to the city, the schools, and the county. And so what I wanted to share with you is our preliminary guesstimate of what the impact of these projects can be to the county. We look at 3 sources of potential tax revenue coming into the county. One is if it's a retail operation, there's obviously 1.5% of any retail sales taxable items. We can guesstimate that. Secondly, the income that the new jobs produce, we use a figure, approximately 15% of any disposable income that a family gets is spent on sales taxable items based on the average budget. And then when we look at that figure as well and looking at payroll, we know that not every dollar is going to be spent in Seneca County, so we do a 20% discount for people. And then third, but last but not least, is real property tax, so the county gets some millage there. And we take into account any incentives. We typically look on a 10-year time frame to see what the impact's going to be over the next 10 years. We don't time value of money discount it, but it gives at least a broad estimate. So the 3 projects that were announced last week, one was Visic Orthodontics. We believe over the next 10 years, Robin, based on the improvements she's going to make and a couple of people that she's going to hire, that may over the next 10 years be about $10,000 to the county. The Webster Industries expansion is going to get some property tax incentives for over 10 years, but if you look at the payroll and you look at the real property tax that's going to be generated, it's going to be about $100,000 of Seneca County sales tax. These are, of course, estimates. And then if you look at the Buffalo Wild Wings, of course, the third category, which the other 2 don't have, if you look at the average, Buffalo Wild Wings is about $55,000 per year in sales. So if you take $50,000 to be conservative, and then you run that and you 2.6 million in payroll or in sales, and you say, okay, well, we're going to do a 1.5%, and that equals about a little under 400,000, and you discount some of that for to-go, etc. You end up everything that's going to be between $300,000 and $400,000 a year estimate. So we're talking about $500,000 to the county over the next 10 years. That's going to be significant sales tax impact. So very excited about that. And very pleased to that's one of the things that we're trying to do. You invest in us. I was here before talking, and I want to make sure that we're reporting on the return on the investment of the taxpayers in Seneca County because you're good stewards. So we're pleased, and we also believe in tracking things after the fact. So we'll over the years see what actually comes about. But we're very optimistic that it's going to be very positive for the important services that the county provides. It's going to strengthen what we do. Is going to continue to strengthen the county and provide you with good return on the investment.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Any other citizens' comments at this time? Seeing none, I guess any other business?
I just had a question, the evening meeting's at 7 or 7:30, we ask this every.
7.
Okay.
For what?
7.
You ask it
7
every-
o'clock.
Room bell? Or-
Yeah.
Yeah, October 28th, 7
7
o'clock.
Okay. So don't show up at 10 o'clock next week, or
Yes.
you can, but you won't.
Yes.
We'll just put you to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing else for the good of the order? Have to have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. Any roll call? Wow, I missed one meeting and no. All in favor, say aye. Missed one meeting, I just flew by.
You're out of the rhythm, Holly.
Yeah, I'm out of the rhythm. It's 10:24, we're adjourned.